Sir.
Okay, good morning to all of you. Good morning, my dear colleagues, respected deans, learned colleagues, and Dr. Syamili, the speaker of the day. I'm just going to make a very brief welcome. First of all, let me thank Dr. Syamili for accepting this invitation and and also agreeing to share some of her experiences, international experiences as far as assessments are concerned, how assessments are happening in the Western Hemisphere. So she will be actually basically be talking about that, and also to the International Student Coordinator, Dr. Sija Thomachan, for facilitating this interactive session. So basically, I expect that Syamili will be speaking for some time, and then she will be taking questions. I think people can also raise their questions in the chat box, if that is okay for Dr. Syamili. Otherwise, they can ask questions. Just I wanted to let you know what is the premise of this talk, why this talk is important. Just for the information of Dr. Syamili also, because from the 2024 admission UG onwards, we have adopted the 6th Dean's Committee report, which actually, according to ICAR, is an inverted version of the 5th Dean's Committee. So there are a lot of changes, and one of the most important changes as far as this curriculum is concerned is how we go for the evaluation. So the 6th Dean's Committee report is actually available in the public domain. And if you go through the page number 8 of the report, it is clearly saying that, I will just read that. In the course of the program, 20% has been kept for progressive assessment of the student within the semester in the form of quizzes and group assignments, quizzes bar group assignments. The assessment of the student through quizzes should focus on their critical thinking and creativity rather than rote reading. So that is an important thing that actually is the point to be focused. Critical thinking and creativity rather than rote reading should be the focus. The quiz and progressive assessment can also be considered in the form of group assignments, which should encourage creativity, critical thinking, and problem-solving attitude. So the Academic Council has taken a different perspective of the evaluation scheme as far as 6th Dean's Committee is concerned. And we have already issued an order yesterday. I hope some of my colleagues at least have seen that order. So there is a changing concept, and I believe that Dr. Syamili has been experiencing these kind of progressive assessments. She has done it, so she is the best person to talk about this. I think this is all what I can say as of now. I am handing over the responsibility to Dr. Sija Thomachan to introduce the speaker. After that, she will deliver her talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. A very good morning to all. So it's my privilege to introduce Ms.Syamili MS. Ms.Syamili MS is currently an ARS scientist at Central Agroforestry Research Institute, Jhansi, and pursuing PhD on human-forest relationship at the University of Eastern Finland. Her journey began with a bachelor's and master's in forestry from Kerala Agricultural University, followed by 1.5 years as an assistant professor at Kerala Agriculture University. She received the British Council India Scholarship for Women, leading to a 1-year master's at Bangor University, Wales, and has gained valuable experience as an FAO forestry intern. Later, she has been awarded with the early stage researcher position at the University of Eastern Finland. As a forest scientist, she is now exploring the integration of social science into forest sciences and biodiversity conservation research. With this, now I invite Ms.Syamili to deliver the session titled Navigating Assessments, Lessons from My Journey in International Postgraduate Studies. The lecture is also designed to support the progressive assessment component for 2024 UG admissions as outlined by the 6 Deans Committee. So once again, thank you all and welcome to this session. Thank you. Now over to Dr. Syamili MS.
Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. And today I'm excited to share my experiences about, sorry, I'm just trying to share the presentation. I hope it's in the presentation view.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So today I'm excited to share my insights about assessments during the education abroad, contrasting them with what we have often seen in Indian scenario. I hope the discussion help highlight areas where we can improve and learn and evolve together and try to contextualize these things in Indian scenario. And one of the major striking difference I encountered during the assessments and abroad is the diversity of the assessment structure they have. So unlike the Indian scenario where we focus on exams and memory-based evaluation, the assessments in abroad is actually tailored to course-specific goals and outcomes. For example, I'm a forestry graduate and I learned forest management in India as well as in my master's in UK. So in India, I learned the theoretical concept and I have given an exam. I scored well by recalling the information that I had learned from the classrooms as well as from the books. However, in UK, I had the opportunity to learn the theoretical aspects from the classroom, but the course was evaluated with just one assignment, that is to develop a forest management plan, developing maps, budgets, management strategies based on the forest that we have visited during our practical time. So there, instead of just recalling the information that we have learned during the classes, I was actually challenged to analyze the concept, apply what I have learned in the theoretical classrooms, and come up with some innovative solutions so that I could develop a plan, which is quite practical. So that was the only assessment for the course. So in contrast to the Indian system, there the emphasis was given to the critical thinking, problem solving, and creative aspects. So in abroad, I observed that not just the students who have the ability to memorize are excelling well. However, the students who have an ability to orally present, who have the confidence to oral presentations, who have an excellent critical thinking and writing skills, and even those with a creative inclination have equal opportunity to excel and score well. And I think this inclusivity in assessment is one of the key aspects of progressive assessments as far as I believe. And let me elaborate with a small assessment structure breakdown. So this was an assessment structure breakdown of a course that I had taken, where the course was based on assignments, 40%, participation, 30%, and exams, 25%, and attendance as 5%. Attendance was not just satisfactory, but the percentage of attendance was taken into consideration. So they have taken into account different elements by touching and enhancing different skills the students have to develop to come with a progressive assessment approach. So we could elaborate one by one. So coming to assignments, assignments are really a diverse area. It's a palette of possibility and variety was the key. So the assignment ranges from not only from writing, like critical essays or literature review, it includes the creative things like making an infographics, creating a video documentary, trying out case studies, data analysis, posters, presentations, and so on. So the variety was the key so that we could include the students who are having different skill set to engage with the learning material in deep and to excel well and trying to find out which is best and what are the flaws they have. So according to the courses, the course teacher was giving an assessment guideline. And the guideline consists of how the course will be assessed, what are the assignments, and for each assignment, there was a description of an assignment, what are the teacher's expectations, what will be the learning outcome, what are the grading criteria, and even the deadline. So the expectations and the boundaries of assignments and assessments are well provided upfront to ensure the clarity and transparency of the process. I will show the examples of how the guideline and the grading was done at the end of the presentation. And the grading was actually with the develop of a rubric matrix. There is an example here which sets out clear criteria and standards for assessing different levels of performances. So here is an example of a rubrics matrix for infographic. So an infographic submitted by a student will be assessed based on the content, which is 50%, reference list 15%, and style and presentation 35%. And within the content, it is split into how the points are clearly delivered, how the signs are underpinned with the infographic content, and whether it is satisfying the well-targeted audience, whether the infographic is made for students or for a general public or for a scientific community. And also the referencing list. They are not just considering whether the formatting of reference is right or wrong, they're also taking into account whether the reference is relevant for the context or not. And obviously, as it is a creative aspect, the percentage relevance given to style and presentation was quite high, like whether the figures are legible and is the appropriate amount of text are there, what about the figures and the creativity and originality of thoughts. So this is how an infographic was graded, and the rubrics matrix is provided for each assignment and they are different for each assignment. And this is another example where a rubrics matrix was formed for a case study. So it was on urban greening city planning. So here, definitely it was a city plan. So the content was given more importance, raising from a 50% in infographic to 65% in a city plan. And according to the title of the assignment, the rubrics cube is divided and setting the category, how well the case study is described, how well the intervention is cited out, what are the technical aspects that has included, what are the originality of thoughts. So each and every element is having a defined percentage of their score. And the sources, again, the reference list was given importance. And since it is a report, the style and presentation was not given that importance as it is given to a infographic. So for me, what happened is that through my experience, this assessment diversity actually brought out my strength and also pushed me to improve in areas which I might have overlooked. And I literally realized after 3 assignments that I have a strong ability to memorize things and deliver presentations effectively. However, I have overlooked developing critical thinking and writing skills as I rarely use them. Even though in Indian scenario, we are writing a lot of exams, it doesn't improve your writing skill. I prefer to write as brief, concise points in exams. I never wrote an essay during an exam. So what happened is that I lose, or the skills that I had in writing was dormant in constructing an argument, justifying it, and meaningfully taking out the conclusions and critically reviewing the others and how respectfully you can disagree with the others' arguments. So these were something that was dormant in me, and these skills were pushed or triggered when I had to go through this assessment structure. And I literally understand, okay, this is somewhere I'm lacking and I have to improve a lot, and it slowly catch up. It was not a sudden jump. I had to work a lot to score better scores dealing with this critical thinking and writing aspects. And another form of their assessment was participations. And classroom discussions is usually something that we are also encouraging in Indian scenario, where we ask the students to discuss certain points and contribute to the discussions and building upon each other's insights. But we forget one thing is that the students who are confident to speak in front of others, who are really confident, can actively engage in classroom discussions. And that will be a few in a classroom. But there will be students who have an opinion, who have a perspective, but they may not be that confident to come in front of the others and to share their perspective. So we have to acknowledge them. So they had this online discussion forum to engage in asynchronous discussions. So what happened here is that students were encouraged to discuss uh, in online. So the students who were reluctant to speak in front of others could easily show their opinion or like let them know their perspective and what do they think about the others discussion points and viewpoints and so on. And an interesting way how this was evaluated is that we had the online discussion forum. So they had a guideline that you should participate in each and every week during the discussion. And if you are missing 1 week, 1.5% of your grade will be reduced. And the discussion post should be around 200 words. So if it is over length, there will be penalties. If it is under length, there will be penalties. And each, by the end of the semester, you can submit 3 of your best discussion post for evaluation. And that 3 posts will be evaluated based on a rubric cube that I have shown before. And they also had a clear guideline how it should be written. It should be an informal style. You should write in a first person format. It should be concise and correctly referenced. So this was a rubrics matrix for a discussion forum post where content was given high importance. However, the relevance was also given importance because just you need to participate in discussion. You cannot raise some points or you cannot argue some points that should be relevant. If it is unnecessary, that won't be given that much important. The quantity of the post was really important, whether it is meeting that 200 word limit or if it is over length or under length. And the interaction, how you're interacting with the person who are conflicting with your viewpoints, how effectively you are conflicting and how respectfully you're disagreeing and how respectfully you are agreeing. So all these points were taken into consideration while evaluating a discussion forum post. So this encouraged not only students who are confident enough to come up and speak their mind, but those students who have opinion, but they are reluctant to speak up. And exams was adapting to different formats. So it was not just closed book exams. So closed book exams actually understand the conceptual understanding, the memorizing ability of the students, but there was also open book exams which with different formats. Like 24-hour exams is that questions will be released 24 hours before and you can refer the sources and you can come up with the answers, and the time limit was 24 hours. So you have to refer articles, you have to go through some of the gray literature and come up with a clear answer. And the questions will not be so direct, it will be a practical application. Sometimes you have to collect a small amount of data and do a small analysis and come up with the results and interpretation as yourself. And sometimes there are time restricted exams where it will be like a 2-hour exam, but you will enter into a computer room and you have computer as a source, and you can find your answers as much as possible, but the time limit is given only 2 hours. So I have experienced that even though it is an open book exam, you cannot completely rely on sources. So you have to be very selective and you have to make the answers within that 2 hours after referring to something. And there are open book question format where there was a set of questions of 50 questions, something will be given before. And the next day you will enter into a classroom like a closed book exam, and you can choose 20 questions from the questions given and you can write an answer. So just it doesn't it is adaptable to different types of students with different skills. So not just the memory based students get the advantage, the other students can also score well in this exam. And besides the proper assessment structure, guidelines and all, they had assessment policies. And these were aware among the students and the teachers. There were penalties for over length assessed work. So if it is a 1,000-word essay, if they go for 1,500, then 10% of your mark will be deducted. Similarly, there is penalties for under length assessed work. If you don't meet even the 50% of the word limit, the assessment is considered as incomplete. There were penalties for plagiarism. So each and every assessment was going through the plagiarism check when I was doing my master's. So if the plagiarism exceeds the limit set by the university, there will be a progressive reduction in your grade. And nowadays, there are penalties for not permitted use of generative AI. So each university have their own guidelines. So these guidelines have been taken from one of the university as an example. So here they permit the use of generative AI to polish your writing and to do for coding in R if there is any statistical analysis is considered. But any use beyond this permitted purposes will be considered as an academic misconduct, and university will be taking actions, and it will come to the transcript of the students. So the assessment policies were clear. The assessment guidelines and how the assessments will be graded was also quite clear before you began the course. So students will be aware of all these things before taking a course. Besides that, to enhance your grade, they give the opportunity that if you do an industrial internship or a volunteering activity related to the topic in the subject, or an online certification from a certified source, or a conference presentation, you can earn 1 or 2 credit accordingly. So this will overall boost up the grade for that course if it is low. So this gave the opportunity for the students to grade up. So the majorly important takeaways, what I found from my abroad education is that this progressive assessment approaches should be tailored according to the course specific goals. So it differ. For example, I had taken a course on agroforestry. So most of the assignments were about writing skills, like you have to write a critical essay, you have to critically review an article, but also they have embraced the creative side for allowing us to develop a land use diagram for the as an assignment. Whereas in case of an urban greening course, they have tailored the assignments as a city planning report and also as a video documentary. So both the creative side as well as the critical thinking and problem solving skills are enhanced from the course itself. So, and the memory-based, comparatively, the memory-based evaluation was given lesser focus. However, these, whatever I have spoke today is based on the European education level. And I came to notice that in USA and Canada, the memory-based exams are given more importance. They also have assignment, but 70% will be from exams and the rest will be from assignments and attendance. But in Europe, mostly the assignments are broken down, the assessments are broken down and assignments are given more importance than exams. So it enables us to learn beyond memorization and encourage deep engagement with materials. I had courses where I never had a lecture, that every student was supposed to read an article before the classroom and they have to come up with discussion points and you have to discuss that article in the class. So for 2 hours, it will be student discussions regarding articles, contradicting and agreeing to the findings and comparing the articles. So in such a manner, it really encouraged your engagement with the material. If it was a lecture, I could have easily forgotten like a lot of things. But since we have to read and we have to come up with discussion point, that engagement was of much higher intensity. And assessment should be designed to assess different skill set. You cannot have a lot of assignments which is completely focusing on writing skill. You have to take into account other skill set as well when you are developing an assignment structure, an assessment structure for a course, and it should be tailored to the course. If it's a very practically oriented course, better to get into practical assignments rather than just focusing on critical essays or writing assignments. So this will enable a sense of fairness and inclusivity will be there, and all students will have the equal chance to excel and score well for the courses. And they will get an idea what are their strengths and flaws, literally. And it is very important to have clear assessment policies so that it will be fair to the students as well as to the teachers. And one thing I just have to give importance is that when we are integrating progressive assessments nowadays, the use of AI is inevitable. The students are well advanced. They know which are the generative AIs they have it available. And almost everything can be done using AI, most of these assignments. But the problem is that I think the students should be aware. And as teachers, we have the responsibility to make them aware that if we are not responsibly integrating AI, there is a chance that their cognitive abilities will be impaired. So we have to integrate the AI so that they can enhance the learning process, but not compromise with their cognitive ability. But how is something that we have to think about and have a discussion on. And thank you so much for listening me. And I would love to hear your thoughts or answers or answer any question about this. And before that, I would like to show you one small example of how the assignment was graded. I'm stopping the presentation right now, and I'm sharing. I hope it is visible now. So you can see that this was a guideline that is given before the assignment. So we have given the deadline, what are the learning outcomes, and what are the skills that you will get from writing a critical essay. And there was clear guidelines, how many words you have to use, what are the possible topics. There were always choice. They didn't force us to take one topic. There were always choices among topics if it is an assignment or an essay or an infographic and whatever it is concerned. And they know how it will be graded, how the essay will be marked, like the content, the writing, the structure, the presentation, referencing, spelling and grammar, and everything. And this is one of my answer sheet where I had to write a literature review. And you can see that the teachers were investing so much of their time in grading as well. So we as students, I feel very responsible, and I felt acknowledged that my work is actually being read and critically being evaluated. So they have given comments on the, you can see, so this is the plagiarism report that is attached with the assignment. And then this is the mark they have given. And you can see the comments, like they have literally read each and every word, even the term, just a term like an ecosystem, they said I have to elaborate it. So how carefully it is literally like, if an essay is being evaluated, it's literally like reading the comments of a reviewer of an article. So literally, they are reviewing your thing critically, and you can see, for this is the scoring for the rubric Q. So for writing overarching review, it was just a pass. It was not a good one or excellent one. The key areas and principle were covered, but coming to the methodology, there was a detailed methodology, and you can see how the examples have used. What about the structure, whether the arguments were corrected, presented coherently and correctly. And you can see the presentation was well written, but there was some areas of lower clarity, and referencing was presented clearly, but there was missing of referencing style and so on. So as a student, I can literally see what are my strengths and where are my flaws. And I don't have to question to the teachers why I didn't get a good grade, because they have literally given the explanation where I have to improve and where I have not. And I hope you got the idea, like how the things are graded and how the assessments are structured so that all the students are included. And with this, I'm
Thank you, Shyamli. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, yes.
Yes, Sija, you are audible.
Okay, so requesting the participants to raise the questions in the chat box.
They can ask her. They can raise the question. She is there. Syamili, I think I have a couple of questions so that I will set the ball rolling if I don't know whether people are ready with their questions. So my first question would be like, I would like you to just tell us more about the open book examination, because this particular topic has been been a discussion point in several meetings and all. And I think if you can explain a little bit more how can it can be done, that will be helping us.
Okay.
After
So
that, I
the
will raise my
experience of
second question.
Okay, sir. Thank you for the question. The open book was conducted in several ways. For example, one was 24-hour open book examination. So the questions were structured in a way that you cannot directly write it from a book. You have to refer couple of the articles. You have to read through the articles, or you have to read through the reference books and come up with a solution or a perspective of yours. And you have to construct the arguments correctly. You have to justify it with proper references. So the questions were like practically oriented. So for a 24-hour exam, I have seen that they have given 2 to 3 questions just one day before, and the word limit was around 1,000 to 1,500 words per answer. So you can only write 1,000 words, and you have to come up with the answer constructed in a logical way. So that was one sort of exams of open book. Another sort of open book was that was done not the open book. Most of these assignments and exams were written. We never wrote with pen. Everything was like typed so that they can go through the plagiarism software, AI software, and so on, AI detection software, and so on. So another one was we have given 2 hours. We were confined in a room with, you can bring whatever books you want. There were computers. You are confined to a room, and the question paper was given, and you have 2 hours to write the exam. You can pick the questions, and the questions were given choice. Even for the 24-hour exam and the time restricted open book exams, each question had a choice, either this or that. So you have a choice between the questions. You can choose. So within that 2 hours, I have to submit the answers. So the word limits were less, just 250 words per questions. And there were around 3 questions or 2 questions, not too much. And none of the questions were objective type, no filling the blanks, definition type, or match the following, nothing like that. Everything was descriptive, like purely focused on writing and argumenting skills. And then another one was they have given a set of 50 questions one day before. And the next day, you are having a closed book exam, but the questions will be from this 50 questions. Any 20 questions from the 50 questions will be there in the exams. So these were the 3 type of open book exams I have experienced it. And sometimes even the open book exam, the questions were different. There were 3 sets of question paper made, A, B, C. So you can, sometimes you will be assigned the question paper like A, the second person will be assigned as B. So the answers, the questions and answers will be different, and there is no probability for discussions and everything. In most of the open book exam, there is a set of more than 3 question papers. I hope I covered a couple of the questions you had in mind.
2 connected things. Like one is, do they give a rubric for this open book examination? Then the most important thing is, it is a challenging for a student. I understand that, but it is equally challenging for the teacher to design an open book examination. Okay, isn't it? What is your
Yes,
take
sir.
on that?
So it is equally challenging for the student as well as the teacher. And that is why the student, even though the students are getting low grades, as international students, we were totally exposed to a new sort of system. We were getting low grades, but we were really appreciating the effort of the teacher actually. It clearly points out what is your mistake, where you are lacking, why your argument is not strong, or this argument is not constructed properly. So we could learn from our mistakes properly. Like, yes, this is somewhere I have to pay attention when I'm writing next assignment, how I'm constructing the argument, whether I'm well supporting it with my justified answers or not. In the open book exams, they have not given the rubric cube, but they have given some guidelines, like what are the like the points that they will consider while assessing the answers. For examples, they may have to give importance to the example. They would like to include an illustration. So if an illustration is there, there is a high chance for scoring high. And the number of references sometimes, or explanation of a case study. So what is the expectation of the teacher is clearly written down and given as a guideline before writing the open book exam. Yes. Associated with each question, there will be that short guidelines.
So that means the challenge is more for the teacher.
The challenge is more for the teacher, but the learning is more for the student.
That's a good answer. Now,
But I think what I understood from them is that once they organize the modules, the assignments is stick on for 2 years or 3 years, 3 batches. The assignments will be the same for 2 or 3 batches. Then they revise it. So for a master's course, if an assignment structure or an assessment structure is developed for next 3 batches, then the first time it is a bit difficult to comprehensively make the structure. And then for 3 years, it will go as the same. The guidelines, the rubrics, cubes, and everything. And the next 3 years, they will revise it. They will try to include different things and all. So even the topics and the articles selected will be the same for at least 2 years. So the first time it is a big effort, and then I think it will be, and that is a problem that I would like to contextualize in the Indian scenario. If the number of students are high, we have to choose very specific assignments that is not that much time taking for the teachers to grade, but it should be helpful for the students as well. Yes. And they have taken the help of master students, PhDs and postdoc students for grading. It is something which is quite common in USA and in Europe. Like if the grading process, if the guidelines are clearly given, the postdocs and PhD students will be helping in the grading, and they will be getting credit for helping in the grading as well. So there is not just one person. So sometimes it can be subjective as well, the grading. Yeah.
I think there is an interesting question by one Aditya. I hope you're seeing that. Can you answer that?
Yes, sir. We are doing assessment particular way from a very long time. Now we are talking about, which is very nice. So what is your how much become a barrier, change of assessment from flexible that much?
Yeah, he's saying that we have a very century-old system of evaluation, and
Yes, sir.
how institutional resistance
In
are
abroad,
yeah.
yeah. I think in abroad, what I'm seeing is that the assignment structure is actually updated when the systems is getting updated, especially with the invent of AI and the influence of AI in education. I can see initially the universities banned AI, and then they realized that it is inevitable and students are going to use it, and there is no point in holding them back. So they have to responsibly integrate AI. And that is being a challenge in many of the universities, how to responsibly integrate AI and to deal with such situation. Especially generative AIs are there. We can easily make presentations, infographics, and whatever so possible. So now they are making the guidelines. So I'm not sure how this in Indian scenario. I know the institution have a lot of power, and the more effort is actually for the teachers, as you rightly said. The teachers have to get updated of the AI softwares. Nowadays, if a person, especially I have been using ChatGPT a lot, so now I can recognize when a text come to me whether it is generated by ChatGPT or not. So it's like it's a use, and I think it's a trial and error method for a teacher. So it is going to be a much more effort to the teacher. So I don't know how the institution is going to take up, as it is a great effort for the employers there. So for the students, it will be much more easy to jump into assignments, but I'm not sure how it will be accepted by the teachers, as it's going to be tough, at least in the initial way. Yeah.
but we have already decided to make the change, and naturally the system will also fall in place. Now, my question, another question is, I don't know whether Mr. Aditya is happy with the answer or something. If he has got any connected questions, he can raise that. But my question is, see, having graduated from a system and experienced a new system, what is your feel that how the Kerala Agriculture University is going to view the new kind of evaluation that we have brought in?
That's something that I would like to emphasize again about this teacher-student conflict. As a student, I was really like this exposure to a different assessment structure brought out my strength and flaws. I could really see where are my flaws, and I couldn't find it, or I was not paying attention because it was not relevant at that point during my education that these flaws are affecting my education or my cognitive abilities. I never thought about when I was going from like essay writing was prominent during our until metric system 10th standard. From higher secondary onwards, I jumped into this point based concise writing in exams. I never looked back. Even for ARS, I write the concise point based answers. I never looked back into this essay format. So that skill of writing was dormant. I never felt that is a flaw because I never used it, and I rarely use them also. But I realized going abroad that okay, so this is something that I have to polish, especially the critical thinking ability. That I was somebody who used to accept whatever brought into the table as a student. So if teacher says something in a class, I accepted the fact. As a student, I accepted the fact. I believed that that is the truth. I never questioned it, or I never go behind and found that there is something wrong with it, or this can be a factor that is influencing for it. I never trained my mind to critically think it. So when you consider the students, by changing the assessment structure from exams, it is going to be highly beneficial. And if they are aware of the cognitive abilities that they are going to enhance, I think the students will appreciate it. But for the initial start, it will be difficult for the system to change it. How the system is getting adapted, how the teachers will distribute the workload, and how it should be organized is something that should be, I think, have a discussion within the faculties or with students and faculties. The students will be more than happy to accept it once they know about the advantages and how it can be proceeded. I hope I answered it. I'm not sure whether it was the expected answer, but yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that insights. It's actually a good perspective. I think people listening to you might have already understood, and we are already streaming it live across the YouTube also, so that those who had class or other assignments at this time can actually see this presentation and can also reach out to you in case there is any other extra questions.
Sir, I would like to add one more point that
please. Yeah.
This rubrics cube method that I have only seen in UK-based degrees, it's not quite common. It's not quite common. And the assignments given in other European countries are much lighter compared to what I have experienced in UK. So, and I have fellow students who have studied in UK and then went to Germany, Austria, Copenhagen, and different parts of the Europe. And they found that, yes, we scored very less in UK. The evaluation was so tight. It was not generous. The evaluation was very tight. And we were disappointed of getting low scores because everyone got a scholarship and came to UK. So everyone was bright in their own way, and they were not ready to accept the lower score initially. But after going to some other European countries, we had this discussion and we said that we learned more in UK because they had the strict evaluation and proper structure of evaluation. So that we improved a lot there. We scored higher marks in other parts of Europe, but our skills got improved by going through such an assessment structure and such an evaluation methods. And for initially jumping from exam to an assignment mode, it can be started with simple assignments. It shouldn't be complicated. It can be with a lower, like for example, I had an assignment which should be written only for 200 words. So it's a critical, concise one. So we can start with the small, the length of the assignment can be small, and the intensity of the workload can be small. So the switching can be done in a lighter way, and slowly it can integrate all these things. I don't expect to switch into a directly a higher level of assessment structure, but this assignments and the assessment structure can be broken down in a simpler way and start it and see what are the challenges faced in Indian context. In all these countries, the number of students enrolled for the courses were less, so the effort for the teachers were less, even though they had to spend a lot of time. As the number of students were less, it was much easier. But in Indian context, it can be different. So we have to contextualize and tailor it into the Indian context in the assignments and the grading and so on. So I have to emphasize that point. Yes, that's all, sir.
Said it very rightly. The point is well taken. Thank you. Any more questions on this? Any others? There are people listening to this. Please feel free to ask her questions so that
Ms.Syamili, Dr. Pramila from College of Agriculture. So I would like to know what is the percentage of the students that fail, or whether it is a comparative system of evaluation in this assessment system. Whether it is comparative, or what is the chances of failure?
What's the chance of?
That is how much they are assessing students based on a comparative manner. This much percentage of students only pass the assessment. Like that, is there any additional criteria? That is 100% of students.
They have given second chance.
Second, okay.
No. Sometimes people fail, or they give the chance to repeat the assignments when they are not scored at least the pass mark. So they have given the opportunity to repeat the assignments as well. And sometimes if something is very falling apart, like if the language is not so correct, so there were students who were not having a good proficiency in the language English, so they were separately taken out, and they were asked to come with their ideas and constructions. And when the assessments were assessed for them, they have not taken into consideration this language aspect as much for the other students, because the teachers knew that they are not very proficient in the language, and it will be very difficult for them to. It was before AI. I'm saying the experience before the AI. Now people can easily give their ideas and make it into a good English. But yes, so they were taken out, and they had a different assessment. When they were repeating the assignments, they have been given a different assessment, taking into consideration their restrictions and limitations.
Thank you. And I think, as you said, our system, if we have to adopt it, first of all, we have to, the capacity of the teachers should be enhanced. So, okay, thank you very much. It was very informative, and your talk was very clear. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anybody else? Or shall we call it a day?
Can I ask one question? I'm traveling actually. Chitra. Family, one question I want to ask is, one problem which we face these days is malpractices among the students. Anyone tip or something that you have to tell, how to reduce this Can you tell something about it?
Regarding the malpractices, we did actually, when I was doing this assignments abroad, we never had the opportunity to do the malpractices because each of us has different topics and different questions to answer, different way of, because if I'm taking a topic for infographics in an Indian context, the other person will be taking something on another country or a different context. Sometimes the articles they provide for each of the students were different. So we never had the opportunity to actually do any sort of malpractices. And nowadays, since there are a lot of this AI detection softwares and plagiarism detection softwares, it will be difficult for the person who is encouraging the malpractices. They will fall as the thing. So that is one thing that I would like to tell. And the other thing is, I think it's about raising awareness among students. When I was studying, I would say that I was unaware. I knew the malpractices were there, but I was unaware what it is actually, how it is affecting my abilities. I was literally unaware. Even though we, as a student, as in a student perspective, when I got assignments, I considered it as a task to be completed. However, I have to complete the task. I was not, because it's not going to affect my grade so much. So I was not paying much attention. I have to complete the task and submit it within the deadline. But there I have to pay attention, okay, how it is affecting my abilities and how it is enhancing my skills, how it can be reflected in my resume when I go for an interview, and how I can deliver things. Those things were, I was pretty aware at that time. So I gave more attention. But when I was a student in KU, I was really unaware what these assignments are influencing on me. What are the influence of these assignments on me? How it is affecting my abilities. So I think even now the students will be a bit unaware about it. Why the teachers are giving you assignments and what are these assignments influencing your ability as a student. So I think that should be raised before taking into this assessment structure breakdown and how you have to include all these things. A student awareness should be done. I think that is one of the major thing that I realized. And they should have that inner trigger or inner push, so that, okay, I have to improve this skill or to come up. And now it's such a competitive world, and I really hope the students will take it seriously. And I'm not thinking that they will
Yes,
go
yes.
for this malpractices when we are
Yes,
giving
yes,
that
yes, yes.
importance. It's
Yeah,
my
it definitely
perspective,
affects
but
their
yeah.
career and future prospects. Like they have, not only within India, outside, abroad also. I don't know why the students don't realize this.
Yeah.
And of late, because we have, I'm the academic officer there, there are problems with the students. And we all, maybe they have their own problems, but this is one important problem which we face. Thank you, Shamli. Thank you very much.
Mhm. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Anybody else? Or, I think we have come to the close of that. Formal vote of thanks will be given by Dr. Sijat. But before that, personally, Syamili, it was a very wonderful experience sharing. The talk was nice. I'm sure that you have touched almost everything which I had in mind, almost everything. Questions raised were also good. So that also made you to cover all those things that actually when we come from this typical exam-based evaluation, when we try to move to a more progressive learning assessment concept, what are the things, what is the importance of rubric, how the student should be made aware why the assessments are there and how they should approach the assessments. A lot of things that in this short span of time we were able to touch. I'm sure that my learned colleagues who are listening to this understood the thing the nuances behind that. And I always believe that it is up to the teachers. It's more challenging to the teachers because it's very difficult to assess a student. Each individual is unique and different, and you cannot have a one-size-fit-all criteria to do that. So I'm sure that this talk is very informative and will help the teachers to take appropriate steps. Thank you very much for that. Okay, thanks for your time. I know that you are in office, you have a very busy schedule. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Sija.
Very good afternoon to all. On behalf of all the attendees, it is my privilege to extend heartfelt gratitude to Ms.Syamili MS, a scientist agroforestry and an esteemed alumni of Kerala Agricultural University, for delivering such an enriching and thought-provoking session. Your sharing of personal experiences and invaluable insights into the challenges and strategies for excelling in international academic settings has been both inspiring and informative. So the practical tips and guidance you provided will undoubtedly be a guiding light for our students and faculty, especially for those aspiring to explore global academic opportunities. And we deeply appreciate on how this session can align with our progressive assessment goals. And I feel the takeaway message is application is not only on what is learned theoretically, but the emphasis should be on critical thinking, writing skills, problem solving, and creative inclination. So thank you very much, Syamili. And a special note of thanks to our respected Director of Education, whose foresight and commitment to raising the educational standards of this university have made events like this possible. So thank you, sir, for your unwavering support and guidance. I also extend my gratitude to our deans, teachers, and dear students for your presence, your active participation, and listening. So this have played a pivotal role in making the session a memorable success. So thank you once again, Ms. Syamili, for sharing your time, knowledge, and experience with us. We look forward to such interactions in the future. So thank you and have a great day ahead. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thanks to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. And I especially thank Director Education, Dr. S. Kumar sir, and Dr. Sija to make this happen and to facilitate, and the technical staff behind the Zoom meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.